human returned to an ancient starship with her. Then she spoke in shock. As she grew, her curiosity did not fade. It only grew stronger, shaping her into one of the galaxy's most daring archaeologists. But nothing in her career had prepared her for what she would find deep in the Astara belt. The asteroid field was a dangerous place. Jagged rocks drifted silently, invisible until the last moment, and cosmic radiation flared unpredictably. Most ships avoided it entirely. But Alara's small exploration vessel, the Aurora Hawk, navigated with precision, guided by her careful hand and instincts honed over years. Ahead, her sensors picked up something unusual. A massive object cloaked in dust and ice floated in the darkness. Its shape was unlike anything known to human records, angular yet elegant, vast yet strangely delicate. Alara's heart skipped a beat. "It's a starship," she whispered to herself, almost in disbelief. The vessel was enormous, easily hundreds of meters long, with intricate patterns etched across its hull. Its metal glinted faintly, catching the distant starlight. Despite its age, it seemed intact. Ancient, yes, but not broken. Coordinates logged. "Initiating boarding protocol," she said aloud, though there was no one to hear her. The Aurora Hawk aligned itself carefully, docking with the alien hull. Alara donned her suit, checked her life support, and opened the airlock. Inside, darkness enveloped her. The corridors were vast, with ceilings so high that her head barely reached halfway. Dust floated in the air, shimmering in the light of her portable lamp. The air was stale but breathable, strangely enough. No signs of life. Not a single sound except the soft hum of the ship's dormant systems. She stepped cautiously, her boots echoing against the metallic floor. Walls were lined with alien symbols, some resembling constellations, others abstract and fluid. She tried to make sense of them, tracing the patterns with gloved fingers. The ship was alive in a way humans rarely understood. It remembered, even in silence. Weeks passed, and Alara returned every 7 days. Each visit was methodical. She explored a different section, taking notes, scanning the structure and documenting every anomaly. It became a routine. She would leave, analyze her findings in the safety of her cabin on the Aurora Hawk, then return the following week. But then subtle things began to change. At first it was small panels that had been dead before now gave faint glows. Doors, previously immovable, would slide open just a few centimeters. A strange vibration seemed to follow her steps. And always at the far edge of her perception, a sense of being watched. She told herself it was her imagination. The human mind was prone to tricks, especially in isolation. Yet there were moments when she froze mid-step, certain she wasn't alone. One week as she reached the bridge, the heart of the ancient vessel, something truly impossible happened. The massive star map, a holographic projection that had been inert for millions of years, flickered to life. Light and stars danced across the room, forming constellations she did not recognize. Her breath caught. She had studied alien technology before, but nothing like this. The map pulsed with energy, highlighting distant systems that did not exist in any human charts. "It knows everything," she whispered, barely able to process what she was seeing. Alara spent hours there, documenting every detail. She realized the ship systems were responsive, not automated but aware. It seemed to understand her presence, perhaps even her intentions. When she reached out to examine a console, the lights brightened, almost like a greeting. Her excitement battled with fear. If the ship was alive in some sense, then she was treading into territory humans were not meant to explore. Yet she could not turn away. During one particularly long session, she sat in the command chair, feeling the weight of history pressing around her. The silence was broken only by the faint hum of reawakening systems. Her mind raced with possibilities. This was not just a discovery. This could be humanity's first real contact with an intelligence far older and more advanced than themselves. Night after night, in the vacuum of space, She lay aboard the Aurora Hawk, thinking of the ship. She could not sleep properly. Her mind would replay every corridor, every symbol, every flicker of light. It felt as though the ship was calling to her. Then came the day when she noticed the first anomaly she could not explain. A corridor she had previously walked down now had a panel that emitted a soft, almost musical tone. Curious, she touched it, and a projection appeared, faint, like a ghost. A figure, humanoid in shape, made gestures she could not understand. Yet there was something familiar about it, something human-like in its gestures. Alara felt a shiver run down her spine. The figure vanished as soon as she blinked, leaving only the echo of the musical tones. She sat in the hallway for a long time, trying to understand. Was the ship communicating? She could not speak its language, yet the feeling was undeniable. Determined, she began keeping a detailed log. Each week she recorded the ship's reactions, the patterns in its lights and sounds, the subtle movements that suggested awareness. She realized this was no ordinary machine. It had intelligence, perhaps even consciousness, and it was learning her. Her colleagues back at the research station grew concerned. "Alara, you've been spending too much time there," one said. "It's a dead ship. You're seeing things." "I'm not," Alara insisted. "It's alive. In some way it knows I'm here. I can feel it." Her words sounded absurd even to her own ears, but she could not deny the truth she experienced. One evening, during her weekly return, she ventured further than before. A room deep within the hull, previously blocked by a heavy, immovable door, now creaked open at her approach. Inside, she found the ship's central core, massive and humming faintly. Strange geometrical shapes floated above the console, rotating slowly as though suspended by unseen hands. Alara approached cautiously. She reached out to touch the shapes. The moment her fingers brushed the holograms, a wave of images flashed across her mind. Stars exploding, civilizations rising and falling, fleets of ships traveling between galaxies, and a lonely ship floating in the void for millions of years. Her knees buckled. She stumbled backward. This is incredible," she whispered, her voice shaking. "It's history, all of it." Hours passed. She barely noticed. She traced every projection, memorizing the patterns, the movements, the stories embedded within. The ship was more than a machine. It was a guardian of memory, a repository of civilizations lost to time. As she prepared to leave, something remarkable happened. A section of the holographic star map expanded, showing a single, uncharted system. Its stars glowed brighter than the others. Her breath caught. It was almost like the ship was pointing it out to her. She whispered in shock, "It wants me to see this, but why me?" The corridor fell silent once more. The lights dimmed. The ship, ancient and enormous, seemed to exhale as though satisfied with her discovery. Alara left that night with a mixture of exhilaration and fear. She could not explain what she felt. She knew one thing for certain: this was just the beginning. The ship had awakened, not fully, but enough to recognize her, and she would return. Every week, without fail, she would board the ancient starship, pushing further, learning more, uncovering secrets that no human had ever seen. Each visit deepened the bond between human and machine, curiosity and consciousness. And somewhere deep inside the ship, she could almost swear it watched her back, waiting for the moment when it would speak fully. The weeks passed like seconds for Dr. Alara Vance. Her weekly visits to the ancient starship, Aegis Prime, became the center of her life. Every journey brought new discoveries, and every discovery left her more amazed than before. The ship was no longer just a relic. It was alive in a way that defied human understanding. It started subtly. Panels she had not touched would glow faintly when she approached. A hallway she had walked countless times would shift slightly, its walls moving to guide her steps. And sometimes, soft musical tones filled the air, like the ship was trying to speak, but in a language she could not yet understand. Alara spent hours trying to decipher the patterns. She recorded every flicker, every pulse, every tone. At first, she thought it was random, but over time she noticed that the ship seemed to respond to her actions. When she pressed certain symbols, lights would flash in reply. When she hummed softly, the tones echoed back, forming new patterns. The realization struck her in a quiet moment on the bridge. The ship was learning her language, just as she was learning its signs. It was not merely a machine, it had consciousness, and it was trying to communicate. Alara's mind raced with possibilities. This was more than any discovery humanity had ever made. The ship could hold knowledge of civilizations long gone, technologies far beyond human reach, and secrets of the galaxy that no living being had ever seen. She knew she had to proceed carefully. She was dealing with intelligence far older than humanity itself. On her next visit, she decided to interface directly with the ship systems. Using her portable console, she carefully connected human computing equipment to one of the ship's access nodes. Sparks of energy danced across the interface, and the holographic panels flickered to life. For the first time, Alara felt true interaction. A soft voice filled the room, not through speakers but in her mind. It was melodic, alien, yet she understood it. "Who awakens me?" the voice asked. Alara froze, her heart pounded. This was it. This was the proof she had been waiting for. I am Alara Vance," she replied carefully. "A human. I study the stars and you." There was a pause. Then the voice spoke again, calmer this time. "A human, curious, persistent, worthy," Alara swallowed. The ship was testing her, evaluating her mind and intentions. "I only wish to learn," she said. "I want to understand your history, your purpose, your knowledge." "You will see if you are ready," the ship replied. Alara spent hours exploring this new connection. She discovered fragments of the ship's memory, a civilization that had vanished millions of years ago, leaving Aegis Prime as a guardian. The ship had once protected countless worlds, traveling between galaxies, observing, learning, and safeguarding knowledge. And now, for reasons it had yet to explain, it had awakened because of her presence. Each week, the interactions grew deeper. The ship began projecting images in the air, showing worlds she had never heard of, stars in colors that did not exist in human spectra, and fleets of ships traveling across dimensions. She realized it was teaching her, slowly introducing her to the vastness of its memory. But with knowledge came danger. During one visit, her sensors detected movement in the outer asteroid belt. A fleet of unknown vessels approached, scanning for any energy signatures. Alara recognized them from historical fragments in the ship's memory, an alien species known for seeking powerful technology to conquer the stars. She felt a chill. If they discovered Aegis Prime, they would not hesitate to claim it, even if it meant destroying everything in the system. The ship seemed to sense her fear. Lights pulsed in a comforting rhythm and the voice returned, softer this time. "Fear is unnecessary, but caution is wise." "Will you act with me, human?" Alara nodded. "I will. I don't know what I can do, but I will help you." The next weeks were a delicate balance of learning and preparation. Alara mapped every system of the ship she could access, studying its defensive mechanisms, propulsion systems, and mysterious energy sources. The ship allowed her limited control, enough to practice and understand its capabilities. Then came the breakthrough. One day, while examining the core, the ship projected a holographic figure, humanoid, glowing faintly, with features both alien and familiar. It moved gracefully, speaking in its melodic voice. "I am the last of my kind," it said. "And you have awakened me." Alara staggered back, her eyes widened in shock. This cannot be real," she whispered. The figure nodded gently. "Reality is not always what you expect, human. You are the key." For hours they communicated. The ship explained that it had been dormant, waiting for a mind capable of understanding it, one that combined intelligence, curiosity, and morality. Only a species like humanity, adaptable and persistent, could awaken it fully. Alara struggled to absorb the truth. This was beyond archaeology, beyond science. It was destiny. Humanity had been chosen not by force but by merit. The ship had judged her species worthy, but there was no time for celebration. The alien fleet drew closer, scanning relentlessly. Alara realized that awakening the ship was not without consequences. She had drawn attention from civilizations that would kill to possess such power. The ship spoke again, its voice steady and calm. "You will lead, human. I will follow. But first, you must prove your worth." Alara's mind raced. How could she, a single human, protect a vessel of unimaginable power against an entire fleet? Yet she felt a strange confidence. The ship was ancient, powerful, and intelligent, but it relied on her decisions. Together, they could outthink any opponent. Over the next several visits, Alara and the ship prepared. They simulated scenarios, tested defensive systems, and explored strategies. The ship revealed advanced technologies, shields that bent light, energy weapons that could disable ships without destroying them, and engines capable of near-instant travel across light years. Alara's respect for the ship grew with each discovery. It was not just a machine, it was a teacher, a guardian, and now a partner. One evening, after a long day of exploration, the ship projected a final message for the week. The holographic figure's eyes seemed to meet hers directly. "The galaxy watches, human. You have awakened me, but you must decide the next step. Will humanity rise to its destiny or falter?" Alara felt a shiver run through her. She whispered almost to herself, We must rise. We cannot fail." The ship pulsed in response as if acknowledging her words. And in that silent moment, Alara realized something profound. The future of humanity was no longer limited to a single world. The stars were no longer distant mysteries, they were waiting for them. She left the ship that night with a sense of purpose she had never felt before. The alien fleet was coming, but she was no longer afraid. Humanity had a guardian, and she held the key to unlocking its power responsibly. As the Aurora Hawk drifted away from Aegis Prime, she glanced back at the ancient vessel. Its lights flickered softly, almost like a heartbeat, and in the quiet of space she could almost hear it thinking, waiting for her next return. Alara knew the most dangerous week was coming, the one when the alien fleet would arrive. But she also knew she was ready. The ship was alive, she had learned its ways, and together they would face whatever challenge came next. And somewhere deep inside the Starship, a thought echoed. Humanity was different. Curious, clever, persistent, perhaps worthy. The warning came before dawn. Alara Vance had been preparing for this moment for weeks, but the reality was overwhelming. Her sensors picked up dozens of alien warships entering the Astara belt. Their designs were sharp, aggressive, and heavily armed. Each vessel carried the unmistakable signature of advanced weaponry and tactical AI. Alara's heart pounded, but she did not hesitate. She boarded Aegis Prime, the ancient starship she had awakened. Its corridors, usually quiet and serene, seemed to vibrate with anticipation. The lights pulsed in rhythm with her steps, guiding her to the bridge. "You are ready," the ship's voice said, calm and melodic, echoing in her mind. "Together we will face them." Alara nodded, gripping the edge of the command console. She felt a surge of confidence. For weeks she had learned the ship's systems, deciphered its patterns, and connected to its intelligence. She knew that the enemy, though formidable, had never faced a mind like hers controlling a vessel like Aegis Prime. The alien fleet approached cautiously. Their sensors had detected the ship's reactivation, but they underestimated the human who commanded it. Alara took a deep breath and began issuing commands. "Shields up. Divert energy to the forward matrix. Activate stealth pulse," she ordered, her voice steady. Lights and energy flowed in response, as if the ship itself were breathing with her. The fleet fired. Beams of blue energy sliced through space, but Aegis Prime absorbed and deflected them effortlessly. The alien commanders were stunned. Their scanners could not predict the ship's movements. Every attack they launched was countered not just by technology, but by Alara's cunning and intuition. She maneuvered the starship through the asteroid field with precision. The rocks became shields and weapons. With the ship's advanced sensors, she anticipated enemy movements, luring them into ambushes. Her human creativity, combined with the ship's immense power, created a synergy the aliens could not understand. Hours passed. The battle was intense, but Alara never faltered. She coordinated energy pulses to disable enemy engines without harming their crews. Shields bent light around the ship, rendering it nearly invisible. And through it all, Aegis Prime responded as if it were alive, learning and adapting alongside her. At a critical moment, an alien vessel broke formation and charged directly at the starship. Alara's mind raced. She activated a maneuver she had devised, using the asteroid field to ricochet energy pulses. The enemy ship was thrown off course, spinning into a collision with a drifting rock. The rest of the fleet hesitated, realizing they were facing more than just an ancient starship. They were facing human ingenuity. The holographic figure of the ship appeared once more on the bridge. Its glowing eyes met hers. "You have proven yourself human," it said. "The galaxy will remember this, but there is more to learn and more to protect." Alara felt a swell of pride. She realized that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology, but their ability to think, adapt, and persevere. She had faced an alien fleet armed with superior numbers and weapons, yet they had underestimated the human spirit. As the last enemy ship retreated, damaged and confused, Alara allowed herself a moment of relief. The asteroid field was quiet once more. Stars glittered across the void, indifferent to the battle that had just occurred. But she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and threats would come again. The ship, sensing her thoughts, projected a star map. New systems, uncharted and mysterious, glowed softly. It was an invitation, an offer to explore, to learn, to guide humanity to places they had never imagined. Alara whispered almost in awe, We can do this. Humanity can do this." "Yes," the ship replied. "You are ready to rise, not as conquerors but as guardians. Curiosity, courage, and intelligence, these are your weapons. Use them wisely." Together, they plotted a course through the stars. Alara felt the weight of responsibility, but also the thrill of discovery. She realized that she was no longer alone. Humanity, through her, had formed a bond with an intelligence older than any living being. This partnership would shape the future. The weeks that followed were spent exploring new star systems. The ship revealed ancient relics, lost civilizations, and technologies beyond human comprehension. Alara documented everything, sending reports back to the Galactic Council. They were skeptical at first, but the evidence was undeniable. Humanity had awakened something incredible, and it could not be ignored. During one exploration, the ship guided her to a planet rich in resources and teeming with life. Its inhabitants were primitive but intelligent. Alara made careful contact, teaching and observing, understanding the balance between guidance and interference. The ship taught her how to protect without dominating, how to influence without destroying. Every discovery strengthened her bond with the starship. It was more than a vessel. It was a teacher, a companion, and now, a mentor for humanity's role in the galaxy. Then, one quiet moment, the ship shared its final secret. It projected a vision of humanity's potential, an era where humans would travel freely across galaxies, exploring, learning, and protecting life. The vision was breathtaking. Civilizations working together, technology and intelligence combined, and humans standing not as conquerors, but as custodians of knowledge and life. Alara felt tears in her eyes. This was beyond anything she had imagined. Humanity, a species often underestimated, had earned a place among the stars, not through war, but through courage, curiosity, and the willingness to learn. She whispered, voice trembling with awe, We are meant for this." The ship pulsed in agreement, its lights brightening until they rivaled distant stars. Aegis Prime was fully awakened, its systems synchronized with her mind, ready to accompany humanity wherever they chose to go. Alara knew that challenges would come. Other civilizations would seek power, disasters would strike, and the galaxy's mysteries would continue to unfold. But she also knew that humanity had a chance, not just to survive, but to thrive, to grow, to rise to its potential. The ship's voice filled her mind one last time for the moment. You have awakened me, human, and in doing so you have awakened your species. Go forth, explore, protect, learn. Humanity is ready. Alara looked out at the stars, her heart full of hope and determination. She knew that this was only the beginning. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars, not by force but by spirit. And with Aegis Prime at their side, nothing seemed impossible. As the Aurora Hawk drifted alongside the massive starship, ready to depart, Alara took one last glance back at the asteroid field. It was silent, serene, and now a place of legend. She smiled, knowing that every journey, every discovery, every challenge had led to this moment. Humanity had proven itself worthy, and the galaxy would never be the same again. For the first time in history, humans were not just explorers, they were guardians. And somewhere deep inside the ancient starship, a thought echoed like a heartbeat through the corridors. Humanity had truly arrived.